Did you know that BDSM and kink are healthy outlets for aggression, imagination, and attention? Hi, and welcome to The Partition, home of kinky wellness. My name is Dana Slosser, and I'm a sexual wellness coach that dives deep into all things kinky. I'm here to show how BDSM and kink deserves a rightful spot within the sexual wellness conversation. So, let's talk about it. Hey, and welcome back. So over the weekend, I had the chance to watch a very disturbing documentary called Orgasm Inc., which came out in 2009. Orgasm Inc. is a documentary created by Elizabeth Kaner, or Liz as they refer to her throughout the movie. Now, the movie starts with Liz telling her story, which was she was originally hired by one of the drug companies to make an exotic movie. And they originally wanted to start a documentary about science and pleasure, but she quickly realized that everything isn't what it seems. So this documentary kind of blew my mind, but I'm going to get to that later. But the documentary starts with the drug company that she works for, which is called Vivus, which is still around. Vivus at the time was testing an orgasm cream for women. And part of the test was to see if the cream was obviously working, was testing women's reactions to the exotic films Liz was making. Now, Vivus in the medical field was first famous because they had actually made a male erectile function drug on the market 14 months before Viagra. But after Viagra came out, Vivus sales just went completely under. So they moved to testing their products on women. This is where Vivus came up with the idea for female sexual dysfunctions cream called Alista. There's many points about this movie that's crazy, but one of the ones that's crazy here is that when they interviewed the owner and the other people that worked for Vivus, how they created the drug for the female sexual dysfunction, none of them actually wanted to answer. It was like pulling teeth. They just didn't want to do it. So eventually one of the employees said that Alista started out as more as a concept and it wasn't actually created. But it was the concept that got people buzzing and talking about it in the market. And so when the market went wild for the idea, that's when Alista came out. So it wasn't it was more of an idea first. They said, oh, would anyone buy it? Then they were like, okay, I guess we'll make it. So yes, that's where Orgasm Inc. comes in. So this is a documentary that spans over 9 years and documents Big Pharma's race to the quote unquote cure for female sexual dysfunction. So I do believe that this and what we're going to talk about is such a root into why we have such a crisis for female orgasms and female pleasure and things like that, because they've just been taught wrong. But the movie jumps from one crazy story to another and absolutely blew my mind and made me super sad at some points. One of the parts in the documentary followed this woman who thought she was literally diseased because she couldn't orgasm at the same time as her husband during intercourse. Literally. That's what she literally thought she was diseased. So think about it. How sad is that if someone's made to feel diseased when she's perfectly normal, she just lacks education? That's just ridiculous. So her story continues as we follow her through these series of events that lead her to going through a massive back surgery with a thing called an orgasmictron, which is basically this cord that goes through your back and up your spine. And then the cord is connected to a wireless battery remote. And then when you press the button, you should get an orgasm feeling. Right? So obviously she goes through, she gets the surgery and it didn't work. So they had the orgasmictron removed out of her spine. And it kind of reminded me of the movie Matrix. Like when the cord comes out through his head, well, that's what it looks like when it's coming out of her spine. And on top of that, her story was in the height of this mass media coverage of female sexual dysfunction. And so at the same time, everywhere that you're looking, it's this hysteria of this is taking over women. And that time was definitely in a time where you think that you could fix everything with a pill. Plus, we all know in health classes now, they don't teach us what happens to our bodies. And this is us now. This is my experience. And this is with better sex education than that. But not to make this story so sad, luckily this woman's journey does end happily. She takes out the cord Luckily, this woman's journey ends with a happy ending of her taking out that cord and receiving some sexual education. It goes into saying that she was actually taught that women should orgasm at the same time as their partners. And if they don't, there's something wrong with them. And yes, at the time that this was all going on, scientists were coming on TV saying that 43% of women were experiencing or do experience some sort of sexual dysfunction. But as the movie progresses, you find out that the research was based on an early 90s survey about common sexual difficulties. So if any of the females participating in this survey said yes to anything, they were immediately put in this box for sexual dysfunction. And the difficulties that the women were experiencing quickly were overlooked and turned into an actual sexual dysfunction. Just completely off the deep end. They're like, no, this isn't a difficulty anymore. This is a real dysfunction. So in the movie, there's a man named Roy. I'm going to butcher his last name. Roy Manhanan. Sorry about that. And he called the female sexual dysfunction a corporate-sponsored disease. So Ray said that most of the yeses that women were checking off to the difficulties that they were experiencing during sexual intercourse were perfectly normal and were reasonable emotional responses to stress, and that they took these normal female difficulties and maxed it out as a disease. And I want to mention people that, like, people with low to little sex drives, because yes, there are people who identify as asexual and don't want sex, but this isn't about this sexual identity or similar ones like it. This is about people who literally think that they're broken, damaged, or diseased because no one has taught them to properly get themselves off or proper sexual education. And this goes to show the continuous corruption between, these drug companies and the fact that they're defining a disease when clearly there's a conflict of interest because, one, it's just false. But that's where, this all gets interesting, because actually the beginning of this and where it all came from for the female erectile dysfunction cream is that it came from Pfizer. So how convenient. But just, before we get all into that, we can loop back to the fact that women need mental stimulation, and feeling of safety to be aroused. Just because someone's hot doesn't mean you're going to be attracted to them or want to have sex with them. There's plenty of hot digheads out there that I wouldn't go near because maybe their personality or attitude, views, morals, whatever it is, clashes with mine, but clashes with mine too much that it annoys me, And this further showcases why sexual education is important in all generations, and we should be updating our sexual education as we go on, because not all education is good education. For instance, a large portion of the video was focused around around the Berman sisters. So the Berman sisters are both doctors who focus on women's sexual issues and whatever related health matters to that. And they were super popular, and together they had a reality show and appeared on news segments and talk shows, super, super popular. And they even stated in the video that the one sister alone appeared on over 150 television shows during this time. But the thing is, those sisters didn't believe in the education that I would consider a good education. They believed that instead of educating women on emotional, physical, mental, and other types of sexual needs, that women do need to be cured through modern medicine. And this modern medicine was called Intrinsa. So Intrinsa was this low-dose patch of testosterone that generated over $100 million by Procter & Gamble. So they loved promoting this drug, but they also, were getting paid $75K to promote this drug, which, good for them, all in days work. But the drug was being called the Viagra for women. So I know that $75,000 a day is a huge chunk of change, and that's, life-changing, forever type money. But the thing is about the drug that they were promoting, it was only tested on women who had had their ovaries removed and were already taking estrogen pills. Now, that's a really small sliver of percentage of people. Ovaries are out, estrogen pills. So at the end of the day, the people that were actually taking these medicines, they didn't have that. So, at the end of the medicine commercials where it says all the things you get, this disease, that disease, here's all the cancers, all the issues if you take these pills. So yeah, for the people who weren't taking estrogen pills or had their ovaries removed, these risks actually turned into realities. So the studies found that this patch increased stroke by 31 times, double dementia, and heart attacks. And at one point, Pfizer had even pulled their patch, but the Berman sisters, they were still promoting theirs. So eventually, yeah, this drug landed into court where it was finally, for the states, this is good for them. It was voted into law to get rid of it. But I think the damage was done. Like this whole female sexual dysfunction, it brought in over 200 genitalia clinics. 200 just in the States, just boom, like up out of nowhere. It's just kind of weird to think that we had 200 genitalia clinics because that's how many women thought that they were sick or that there was something wrong with them. Especially because this information is so readily available. And I mean that not necessarily in the Wi-Fi, send it over immediately, but there's ancient history books about sex. Like thousands of years ago, sex has been with us. Sex is why we're here. So I do feel bad for anyone who did believe in the Berman sisters. Just like the internet, not everything you see on TV is real or legit. And you know what? But they made bank. They made bank because in the video they had these services to help you orgasm that ranged over $1,500. $1,500. Fuck, at that point, just go get yourself a professional sex worker. Like, not only will you get off, like you'll get a firsthand personal sex education class right there in front of you. But, that just goes to show our medical industry out here. Like, at the time of filming, America made up 5% of the world's population, but 43% of pharmaceutical products. Like, what? 5% of the world population, 43% of pharmaceutical products. That was when that was filmed. So I looked up the stats for that for last year, and in 2021, the United States pharmaceutical company makes $1.42 trillion. Yeah, that's the stats for last year. Anyways, the most fucked up part about all this is that the FDA never actually proved that the female sexual dysfunction was an actual disease. Yet this entire issue here shows just another piece of how people are out there who just want to medicalize normal life. Like, these are normal things that happen to females. Like, for stress, maybe we're not in the mood. That's a normal thing. There was an interesting line that I really, really liked that gave one example of medicalizing normal life. I don't know, you can agree or disagree, but it was comparing or equaling shyness to social anxiety disorder. Now, I'm not saying that social anxiety disorder isn't a thing, but it kind of gave me a new perspective that there are just some of us that are shy, we're just shy people. And so being in a crowded area makes us nervous, but to say social anxiety disorder, it seems so intense next to just saying oh yeah, shyness is a thing, you're shy, whatever. But, food for thought. But anyways, my point is just watch where you get your education from, because I feel that these women were being targeted. Somebody knew that that's the education that they received, so they were being targeted for their lack of sexual education. And also, I feel like they were being withheld information of how women's bodies actually change as we get older. Even the criticisms that I have today is that some women just don't know where their clit is, and some have never even looked at their own vagina. If you're a female and you're listening to this and you've never looked at your own vagina, go sit in front of a mirror and go do it. That's part of your body. Go figure it out. Go look at it. You're beautiful. It's beautiful. Everything is beautiful. You gotta not be scared to see ourselves in the mirror. And beyond that, other things that could, not make you in the mood. Yes, you could be tired. Yes, you could be stressed. But maybe your partner just isn't sexually stimulating you in the ways that you really wish they would. Maybe you live in an apartment and you can hear your neighbors through the wall. Sometimes when everything comes crashing down at once, it doesn't take a lot not to fall out of the mood. But another comment about medicalizing normal life is there was another good line that said that desire cannot be defined medically. And it's such a sweet sentence. The Google definition of desire is a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. Again, Google's definition of desire is a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. So desire is a state of mind. So that state of mind is expressed through wanting, wishing, longing, craving for, etc. So if your partner doesn't get you into this type of frame of mind, good luck getting any slice of desire. You can't measure these things. And it's true, you can't measure. We can't medically kind of put everybody into a box of what their sexual expression should be or sexual preferences are. It's just you can't do it. It's as individual as the person themselves. But I gotta say, this documentary was an eye-opener and motivates me to spread the message on why BDSM are healthy outlets for aggression, imagination, and tension even more. Because BDSM and kink isn't a medical treatment. Like, I wouldn't say it's a medical treatment. It's a personal journey. Like, it's a personal journey that you're doing on the inside that you're connecting with, as long as you do it safely, you know, and it's not like you can't make a medical treatment scene, you know. But yeah, nowhere in the Berman sisters' treatments would they ever say something about BDSM and kink or imagination or anything like that. Like, they are the exact opposite. But yeah, if you haven't seen the documentary, it is on YouTube. So I'll leave the link in the comments below. Please go watch the movie yourself and let me know what you think, okay? Because I absolutely loved it. Go watch this movie and let me know what you think for yourself, okay? I really want the feedback. Let me know what you think. What was your favorite part, saddest part, happiest part? What'd you learn? But, you know, that's it for me. Thank you for listening. And if you're new here or to the BDSM scene, go check out my BDSM Basics e-learning for the 3 basics everyone needs to know before entering BDSM and kink. You can find the link at www.thepartition.life. Again, that's www.thepartition.life. Thanks for listening. Tune in next time. And as always, stay kinky.